Hey guys, happy Thursday, what some people call Friday Eve, and it is time for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So I had the place all to myself today here, pretty quiet, able to focus and get some things done. Not that I can't focus and don't get things done when other folks are here, but it's just kind of different. Anyhow, let's see what I did today. Worked on this one a decent amount. Went ahead and put his gas tank back in and got that all connected. I went ahead and put new fuel lines up here, new fuel filter. They didn't look that bad, but it's like, you know, if you're already in there and you're gonna put the gas tank in, why not? The fuel filter was actually pretty dirty, but the hoses were still fairly compliant. But I was just like, you know what, I'm already here. It's, you know, a few bucks worth of hose and a few bucks for a filter. So anyway, I went ahead and did that. And let's see what else. He had a monster tach in here that was in here when he bought the car. It was under the dash there. One of those big Autometer Pro Comps or Sport Comps, whatever. He didn't want it in there, so he had me take that out. I did hook his battery back up and start testing things. His cigarette lighter actually works. He thought it didn't work, but I think the thing is it's the kind that you have to push in and hold in. And I verified that if you push it in and hold it in, it does start glowing red hot when you pull it out. So if you're going to light your cigarette or your doobie or whatever, you could do it with that cigarette lighter. His main interest in it, though, was to plug in a USB charging port for his phone. So went ahead and ordered one of those from Amazon. And let's see what else. I went ahead and fired it up and started up pretty easy. And checked the timing, synced the carbs. The carbs were pretty much dead on at idle. When you start cracking so I don't know, for those of you that aren't familiar with these, there's kind of like two steps to synchronizing the carburetors. One is to get them flowing the same airflow at idle, which is done with the little stops that you see here to make sure that the butterflies on both are cracked open the same amount when the car is idling. So that's kind of the first step. And then the second step is to actually synchronize the linkage. So they've got these adjustable rods there and there. And so the thing you want to do there is actually the most proper way to do it is to push like right here where the cable is pushing. Some people just like grab them somewhere and start twisting them to do that. But these bars, they can flex, all kinds of weird stuff like that can happen. So the truest way to do it is really to push right here, like as if the throttle cable were pulling on it. And then what you're looking for is that at the point in time when one side like barely cracks open, that the other side is barely cracked open by the same amount. Right? Pretty straightforward, pretty easy to understand conceptually. So it was off a bit. This side was cracking open maybe like half a minute. I didn't measure it, you know, with the feeler gauge or anything, but it was opening maybe, I don't know, say in the little stop here by half a millimeter, maybe a little bit more, before this side would start to open. And with the car running, I would notice that if you would just like barely ease on the throttle, it sounded pretty rough, like it was kind of favoring one side. So that's kind of what they do. And then, you know, even if the sync is off a little bit left to right, usually once you kind of get more into the throttle, it kind of smooths out because the butterflies are open enough that point that, you know, open a degree or so more on one side than the other doesn't make much of a difference. But what a lot of people don't realize is that when you're driving these things around, especially one that's got, you know, like kind of a souped up motor and it's making a little bit of power, this thing probably makes 80, 90 horsepower. You're actually driving around a lot with the throttle like barely cracked open. Again, these cars are super light, and with a motor like this that's putting out, you know, somewhere almost in the vicinity of like twice what the car came with stock. Actually, yeah, about twice. This car came with a 40 horses, 65. So it's making in the neighborhood of twice the power. So you're driving around with this thing like barely cracked open. So it's very crucial as far as having it run smooth that you make sure that these things are opening like dead nuts the same. Anyway, that's probably way more than you wanted to know about that, but just kind of explaining the process and how important it is that you get it synced good left to right. His timing was spot on, so I didn't touch that. Again, the idle flows were right on, didn't touch that, just the linkage a little bit. So yeah, I did all that, and then I don't think when the car came in that I ever checked any of his electrical, so I verified that the lights and turn signals and stuff like that were working. I didn't think his horn was working. I was kind of playing around, and I'll show you here. I don't know if this comes on when the key is off or not, but I was like, oh, I wonder what this button does. That's the horn. I don't know why they didn't wire it into here. But yeah, this is the horn. Kind of cute. Not really the most convenient spot for it, but you know, if you really needed it for avoiding an accident or something, you could reach over there pretty quick and mash that. So yeah, all his electrical seems to be working as far as I can tell. And so tomorrow, the new tires should come in. So got new front and rear tires from it. So get rid of these rubber bands on the front and these cracked old ass tires on the back and put some new ones on it, and then be dialing in the ride height. He also wanted to put a lock nut on each wheel, so I got some of those ordered. Trying to think what else he wanted done. I think that may be about it. I got to go back through our text messages and see what else he wanted. But yeah, this one's actually getting pretty close. Need to drive it, put a few miles on it and stuff like that. But yeah, getting very close. So this, which I'm coming to think of, is a diamond in the rough. Hopefully it's a diamond in the rough. We'll see if there's a diamond in here or not. I think there might be. But anyway, so again, my upholstery guy kept working on this thing today, and you can see he went ahead and pretty much stripped all the upholstery out. So door panels are out. The whole dash is, the whole padded dash is all removed. I think he had the carpet out yesterday, but yeah, so he can actually start using that. In fact, he took the seats today and removed the upholstery from them. The foam in them was actually good, but whoever put it in didn't do a great job of contouring the foam around the edges. And so he's spent a lot of time this afternoon like contouring the foam to make sure that the upholstery is like nice and smooth going around where it goes around corners, like on the edges of the seats and stuff like that. So it's going to look amazing. And then he did agree to let us paint it. He's being pretty cost sensitive about the project. I know a lot of you guys mentioned that, oh, this car would look amazing silver and stuff like that. That would increase the price of the paint job a lot, and I think he just wants it to look good, and he seems okay with the black. So for sake of containing the cost on this project, which is already like way more than he had sort of thought, because you know he didn't really realize how much this work costs to do, we're going to keep it black, but it's going to look incredible. So yeah, new interior. We'll repaint the outside of it. You know, get rid of any little imperfections and stuff like that. It's gonna look amazing. And then to me, the biggest other thing on this car is getting some wheels in here that appropriately fill out these fender gaps, because frankly, it just looks kind of silly right now. So yeah, I got to get on the hunt for some wheels. The problem is it's 4-lug VW pattern. So I don't know, again, trying to kind of contain costs, but I think the car would look good with some replica Fuchs on it. And it's possible that I can just get some 4-lug drums that are drilled for a Porsche pattern and not go too crazy as far as his budget goes, because it's pretty much just 4 drums and the labor to swap them out. And then we can get some wheels that, you know, make more sense on this car than 4-lug VW center lines that make pretty much no sense on here. So we'll see. We got to figure some things like that out. But that is what is happening on this one. This guy, the 1500cc motor for the barn door, didn't do a lot on it today, but I did take the push rods over to AJ at Low Bucket, and along with the adjustable one that I determined the length with. And he went ahead and cut those and assembled them for me. He's got a big you know, full-size lathe and stuff like that. He can do a much better job than I can do of that, so worthwhile just to pay him to do it. But yeah, so he made those an exact copy lengthwise of my adjustable one, and then yeah, I went ahead and assembled them on there. So these rockers are all on now for real, and I went ahead and adjusted the valves. Everything looks great. I also took his valve covers today to the guy that I used that does my polishing. He's going to polish the ribs, and if you remember what they look like, they say Speedwell kind of in the middle and have like the Speedwell logo. That's all going to be polished. They're going to look nuts. So yeah, coming together, this one. Trying to think what else I did today. Not today, but I forgot to mention it on, I think it was yesterday's video. Yeah, yesterday's video, that we did go ahead and pop the windshield into James's 67 here. I think I put it in the description of the video yesterday after realizing that I forgot to show it. But yeah, so he bought some nice cowlick rubber from West Coast Metric. Fit great, windshield went in super easy, and yeah, that's like really one of the major things he wanted done. So next on this car, I'll probably start seeing what's going on with his motor as far as finishing assembly, and then there is a external oil cooler mounted up under there somewhere that needs to be plumbed in and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe next week I'll get on with James's motor and stuff. We'll see, kind of play it by ear here. Geez, guys, I think that is probably it for today. So I guess I will see you guys again tomorrow. As always, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more. Bye.